Hi there, it's Serena Merle, or Miss Nina, speech language pathologist, and for today's parent coaching video, I want to talk to you about the skill of following basic directions. Now, why do we need to follow directions or instructions in the first place? This is a very important skill, not only for receptive language, but we're going to see how this also relates to our underlying understanding of peers, participation, and rules. So, following instructions, first of all, has to do with listening. I need to be able to hear the sounds coming in, process them, and understand the meaning of what do those mean. That's all receptive language. Am I understanding what the words are? Now, somebody else is speaking to me, so I need to be able to understand that other person. And in this case, we can also expand this to not just the same one person giving me the instruction, but can I also relate that other people saying the same instruction is asking me to do the same thing, and then I can follow through with doing the instruction? Then that shows a really deep understanding of those concepts and the flexibility to apply that. Doesn't matter who the person is. This is really important because we want our children to be very flexible and also aware and understanding of other people speaking to them. Now, the other piece is somebody speaking to me, so I'm going to have to be engaged. There's greater participation in what we can see in social settings with peers or at school, siblings at home, where if I'm following the instructions and then there's maybe a praise or I get some really good positive feedback back from when I do the instruction, then I feel like excited and I want to do more. Then that makes me wanting to be in a social setting more willingly. And the last thing about instructions is that these are rules. And rules are really important for children to understand boundaries and limits of when something is allowed and not. And also, what are the expectations so they can participate well in the different learning activities that we have at school. Now, when it comes to giving instructions, less is more. And I'm not just talking about for young learners that are beginning to develop their communication skills. Less is more for most people. Take a look at this instruction. Sam, can you please come over here by mommy? I don't like you playing where I can't see you. What's the instruction there? It is really deep into all these words where the main instruction, the main direction here, come here. That's it. If I'm expecting another person to do something, I need to be very simple and clear with what I want. Yes, the whole reason behind why I want you to come here close to me is because I don't feel comfortable when you're playing and I can't see you. All of that does not need to be part of the direction, because processing and acting is a very complicated process, so we should not make that even more complicated by adding in a lot of words that also need to be processed before action can happen, especially if you're wanting an action to be happening rather quickly. Like if a child's walking towards the road, don't walk over towards the road, there could be cars there. That's too much to process. The action here is stop. That's it. So less is more. How can you break down all of those instructions to be very simple, 1 or 2 or 3 word phrases? Thinking about things you do in everyday routines that you can be used in a lot of different activities and practice a lot throughout the day. Here's a couple of ideas of instructions we could be giving our children. Stand up. Sit down. Quiet voice. In this case, Why am I saying quiet voice and not don't shout or no yelling? The reason why is because the negation, the negative aspect of a phrase, is actually not processed at the same level. So children, when they hear don't shout, they're really just processing the shout. The grammar words that we use, all of these more technical words don't have the same amount of stress, and therefore our brains don't process them the same way, right? Stop yelling. In this case, stop is a good word. It is a command. Does make sense, but I'm still hearing yelling, and that is the stronger word. So you should be using instructions of what you want your child to do, not what you want your child to not do, right? It's not don't run. It's walk. Give me. Take it, if you're trying to get your child to take something. Drink or eat. These are some ideas of very simple instructions you could be using in multiple times throughout the day, thinking about how simple can I get? And wait. Say it to your child. You could provide a little visual, like, give me, put your hand out. You could touch your hand, give me. But we don't need to be repeating these 2, 3, 5 times over and over for your child to react. Sometimes we just need to wait a couple seconds, and then your child can have that space to process and feel comfortable, and then go through with doing the instruction. Okay. Now, once your child has got the understanding and is following a lot of these simple instructions, you can get silly with some of your instructions. You can move into unfamiliar things that they haven't heard before, just to see how much are they really understanding, how much participation do we have, so that, and it also works on imitation for the first time. So if we're doing a song, right, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose, touch your nose. They could watch you do it. It's in a song. It's fun. This isn't something that we have to do all day. This isn't an action that's part of our daily routines. This is just something funny. And to see your child's understanding and their participation, imitation skills. And this is where we can get a lot of really fun, engaging times, because your child's going to be laughing and we can get silly. Feed the dinosaur, make the dinosaur sleep. All these things are great because you're going to do this with a baby doll, or we do this with the children. And so taking this action out on another thing, and if it's just a funny thing like making the dinosaur eat, this is another instruction that you can use through imitation, but it's just play. It's funny. Clap your feet. I love this one because it confuses children. And you can see just the gears spinning in their heads because you say clap your, and they go for their hands because they understand clap, and that means hands. And then you go clap your feet. And then they want to stomp their feet. No, clap your feet. And you could show them trying to clap your feet together. It's funny. You're changing it. And they're like, oh, wow, I never thought of that before. Stick out your tongue. This is a silly one. Kids just love to do it. Get all funny in the mirrors. It's playful. We can do it in song. It's just a really nice, engaging time. So today we talked about following basic instructions, thinking about using short, simple phrases, being consistent with those phrases. If I say, sit down, sit in your chair, sit on the floor, those are all a little bit different. So if I can be the same and just say, sit down, sit down, sit down, showing where I want the child to sit down, that's going to reduce the cognitive load so that your child can be more successful in the beginning when they're figuring out these new concepts before we can change it up. Once your child's got it, you can say it different ways. That's great. That helps them have more connections and have better processing for their brain for that understanding. And then getting silly. and having fun. That's what it's all about with kids. Make sure they're laughing, you're laughing, having a good time, and then you know that was a very successful communication interaction with following instructions. That's all for today. Thank you so much.